Hey guys, Christo Garcia, My Swing Evolution. I am so fired up with the last dance going off. I am excited to do a swing video lesson for Michael Jordan, the basketball GOAT. Now, I'll tell you, a lot of people are saying, oh, LeBron James or Kareem Abdul Jabbar and blah, 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 blah. Well, LeBron is maybe the greatest athlete I've ever seen. Like, the guy is a monster. And Kareem Abdul Jabbar, he won just as many championships and he scored the most points. But the thing that elevates Michael Jordan, in my opinion, is not only was he a superhero athletically, but he had the most intensity. He was the most inspirational. There was a spiritual component that just cannot be matched. Now, I'll tell you, watching his golf swings, it looks like he probably got with one of the top 100 teachers in the world, and they taught him the modern swing and told him to, keep his feet planted and resist turning his hips and all that garbage. I'm going to point it out to you. Whereas, we're going to look at his baseball swing, and I think it's much closer to what he should be doing, and it'll be more natural to him. But we're going to dig into that in a moment. And listen, if you like these videos, please give us a like, click subscribe, ring the bell, leave a comment. Tell me what you think about Michael Jordan's golf swing, and if you have any suggestions as well. It just makes it a lot more fun for everybody else. And we've got a really dynamic Facebook group for My Swing Evolution where we all talk about the golf swing and we post things that are really helpful for other golfers. So with that being said, let's dig into Michael Jordan's golf swing. I really believe that he has the athleticism to be a really, really great golfer. But I'll tell you what, if you've been led down the wrong road technically, you're never going to get there. But I'll tell you what, I think he's going to swing easy and hit hard. So let's dig in. Hey guys, I am so fired up to talk about the basketball greatest of all time, Michael Jordan, one of my personal inspirations my entire life. I have absolutely idolized Jordan from the time that I was in junior high school. And me and my friends, we all tried to be like Mike when we were growing up. It just was just so incredible to watch him, from the University of North Carolina all the way through his final NBA championship. Really, really something else. And before, we get started, I just wanted to point out that even when he was with the Wizards, he still was scoring 24 points a game like it was nothing. He was just incredible. So before we nitpick the golf swing, because there's two major areas I would suggest that Michael Jordan could work on to get much, much better. I want to talk about the things that are amazing. We're talking about perhaps the greatest athlete that ever lived. So let's take a look at this downswing and impact. Wow. Yep, check it out. Look who I've got him sized up against. Look at this action through the ball into impact. MJ is the man. He is a Superman athlete, literally like a physical superhero. Did you guys see how cool that was? Look at him release this ball, release this club rather, down into the ball. Super square face. Now check out this extension. Ho, 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 ho. My man looks just like Mr. Hogan. Jordan is the coolest, man. I can't even tell you. That is sick. That is sick. So what I'm saying is, why don't we work on a couple little things to get him looking a little better? So let's go back here now. I'm not sure what that little swing rehearsal is. I guess he's trying to work on his release, to square it up. Let's take a look at this golf swing real quick. Looks like, he's in this celebrity tournament. He's mic'd up with Tom Brady. And let's see this little shot here. It looks like a wedge into a green. So he's looking at it. Pretty nice shot, solid contact. A slight pull, but certainly not bad. I would take that. Putting for birdie. So it looks to me like, obviously Michael's pretty darn tall. So he's got to flex his knees and bend at his waist to get down there. But I would say with this particular club, his hands are maybe outstretched a little too far. He has long arms, just like Mr. Hogan. But let's take a look at this again. Okay, and even slower. Okay, so now we've got something to talk about here. Guys, there are a couple of optical illusions in the golf swing. When we try and think about how we have to swing the golf club, it's really easy to get off on the wrong track. And I'll tell you, I said I seem to see some modern swing things in here that I don't care for. But one of the things that I don't care for is this look of swinging around the spine. This is kind of, God, I don't want to rip on anybody, but he's swinging around his spine, and that's not how the arms work optimally. It seems like that's what you're supposed to do. That's what it seems like, but it's not the way they work the best. So now he's got to create something. He's pulling that club down right through his shoulder. That's not Shangri-La. Okay? So now he's got to do something amazing to get the club face on the ball, which he does because he's a super darn great athlete. But if you watch this release, that's the lowest left release I've ever seen ever. So let's watch this one more time. Let's talk about the wheel of the shoulders. That's what I'm talking about. So by swinging around, he's going out and around. Check this out. The swing is out and around. Let's go a little faster. Now watch the club on the takeaway as it leaves the ball. He's going out. He's going out and around. If you imagine his shoulders were on a wheel, it's going to set his wheel up much too far to the left. You see how laid off that club is? Now we're going to watch his shoulders wheel around. He manages to get it on the face on the ball. The ball goes left. The club goes left. The whole wheel goes to the left. Okay, we've got a solution for it. Now, real quick before we talk about solutions, I want to point out just a little bit more visually so that we can be aware of what we're trying to fix here, or improve, shall I say, with these suggestions. So we've got the square on Michael Jordan's head, and I actually, since he's got this nice little mic pack on his back belt, he's mic'd up for this TV show, I put a little circle on it just to see where the base of his spine goes, okay? Now this camera is handheld, so it moves a little bit, but it'll serve our purposes just fine. So we watch as Michael compresses down into the ground. This is like PGA looking right here. There's nothing wrong with this, except for the fact that he's set his shoulders up to wheel so far to the left. But what we're going to watch here is where his athleticism has to save him from a bad position where the club is. When I was saying it was coming down through the shoulder. Now he's coming out way from the outside. And we're going to watch him go down and get it. Can you see how far the mic pack has moved from where it started? And his head is completely out of the box practically. So I think that we could all take a look at this and say, athletically, Mr. Jordan is not taking advantage of all of his natural gifts. With his jumping ability, oh my gosh, and being a baseball player, he could be a long drive competitor. I'm convinced of it. But this is not really using the ground properly. Now, I'm going to say that this is a wedge shot. It's a touch shot. So I don't want to get too hung up on it. We're going to look at the legs a little bit more. But what I want to talk about from this down the line angle, which is more important to me, is talking about how his arms are working. Now, the swing that I'm looking at on the right is Tiger Woods at the 97 Masters. This first Tiger swing was really, really, really good. Okay, so let's take a look here. Pretty interesting. Now that's quite a different look to the finish, but let's go to the top here. So the first thing I'm going to say is I believe so much in what Tiger is doing here, and I believe he's doing it today. He's keeping his upper left arm connected to his chest, and he's taking the arms to the inside, okay? You know, he's got a deep takeaway, where Mr. Jordan has an outside takeaway, okay? Inside versus outside takeaway. Now we take it up to the top. Look at the difference. Doesn't it look like Mr. Jordan is going to hit the ball 50 yards to the left? See, now what Tiger's doing is he's set that club in a position where he can leverage it and throw it around his body beautifully. And I actually love these wedge swings from Tiger back in the day because he really keeps his feet quiet and rolls the ankles. So right here we can see that, although, the frames aren't exactly the same, we can see how Tiger's pulling the handle down more inside around, and Michael's going out, so he's got to kind of save it here. Now we got Jordan from the front. Okay, I think we have a pretty good address. I don't think that his grip is too strong. It looks like most of the PGA pros today. The ball is inside the heel. Maybe I'd move it forward an inch or two, but I think overall it's pretty good. Now this is it's very hard to find swings of Michael on YouTube or on the web anywhere, but Peter Costas did a nice little review of this, and he pointed out how Michael's resisting his turn with his lower body, which is one of these modern swing things that I think is not helping some people. I know a lot of pros can swing like this, but look at how much it's limiting Michael Jordan's shoulder turn. Like that, he should be getting that lead shoulder more towards his rear foot. And if he allowed his lower body to coil, he'd be able to do that. And then the other thing that it does is it ends up giving, this is exactly where I was, by the way. My old before swing was 3/4. I kept my feet planted. I didn't use my hips well, open them up at all. And this is essentially, I was in the exact same position. So what I'm saying is if Michael Jordan moved to the classic swing and lifted that heel, allowed his hips to open and his shoulders to open, and he braced into that right leg, he would be able to really take advantage of what we see here. Look at, I've already pointed it out. Look at this action through here. He is the man. He could be Superman if he would, give this classic swing a little bit of consideration. Now, what do we see here? It's, again, look at his lead arm and wrist. He's rolling the wrist, swinging around his spine, which you think that's the way you're supposed to do it. I just don't think it puts him in a good position to really leverage the club as best as possible. So he's going to try and leverage it so, it gets a little bit steeper in transition, but he drops it back in. He's athletic enough to know how to drop it in, but I bet that it affects his consistency. But look at this forward shaft lean. So I do believe he could probably move that ball an inch or two forward and really be better off, because my gosh, man, he's going to need too much loft on that driver to get it airborne. But it's really, really good. It's pretty darn good. Again, I love what he's doing, a lot of what he's doing. But real quick, I want to mention that Michael Jordan does have the caddy dip. Byron Nelson, great golfer with the caddy dip. That's where you break your knees towards the target. I think for a lot of golfers, it's really helpful to have this move with the knees, dipping down towards the target. But you can do anything too much. I'd like to see Michael brace against that lead leg a little stronger. That's going to be able to, help him to leverage off the ground and push that lead hip back around behind him. And the thing that inspired me was, looking at his old baseball swing. So we're going to take a look at his baseball swing here. Now, real quick, everybody, including Sports Illustrated, was ripping on Michael Jordan for taking a break to go to baseball. When he was in the minor leagues, he batted .252, which was the average for the minor leagues. And we're talking about he hadn't done this in forever, and he comes out the box batting the same as all these other aspiring pros. He hit 3 homers, had 51 RBIs, and what was even crazier is he stole 30 bases. 30. That put him in the top 6 in the minors. So if he had stuck with this, he could have been the man. I mean, he's the man. That's why I want to help him be an awesome golfer. But look at what he's doing with his legs here. You see that? That is so classic. He makes the K, braces off his lead leg. I think that, well, I mean, I'm being nitpicky here, but, I'd like to see him, get his hips out a little bit farther in front. But we're going to take a look at this a little bit slower now. Let's take a look at this here. We see Jordan's lead knee. Now watch Michael here. What's going on? That looks a lot more like Jack Nicklaus, and I'd rather see that than him keeping that lead knee out. That's just not helping him. He could do so much better than that. He'd be so much better off if he did it like he did in his baseball swing. Now, what this is going to allow him to do is leverage and press off that back leg. He's not using his back leg at all here, in this current swing. But we see that great stride. He drops the bat into the slot. Now here we're going to see Mr. Jordan press off that lead leg in the batting cage. Quite a bit different look than, from the caddy dip we see in the legs on the left. I'd much rather see a look that's closer to actually what Ben Hogan did. Once again, Ben Hogan, he had that lead leg, straightening as he rose up on top of it. So that's the swing of Michael Jordan. He's got a great golf swing. I've heard he's a very good golfer. I've heard he's got nerves of steel. He, loves to bet on the golf course, so he's a competitor. I'd just like to see him be the man and, get really, really good at golf. But what I learned from 20 years of sticking with the modern swing and resisting my lower body is I learned that it was a waste of my time. And I wish I had understood the principles of the classic swing like Jack Nicklaus and Ben Hogan about 20 years earlier. Maybe my life would be a little different, but I'm still enjoying the game of golf. I hope you are too, and I hope you hit them long and hit them straight. Guys, I'm Christo Garcia from My Swing Evolution, and if you like golf, you probably caught me on the Golf Channel this year playing my idol, Ben Hogan. Well, I'll tell you, it was the honor of a lifetime. And right now, we're running a special on my 3 best-selling videos. You get Mr. Hogan, my documentary, where I travel the country meeting everybody I can that personally knew Ben Hogan. Folks like Chichi Rodriguez and Jack Nicklaus. You also get the Hogan Code, my best-selling instructional video that shows you exactly what I did to learn how to swing like Ben Hogan. And my driving evolution. Now I can hit it well over 300 yards, and I show you all the tips and techniques that I use to pick up over 60 usable yards of distance. So go to myswingevolution.com right now and save over 30% on these great best-selling videos.